Hi there, good evening, everybody. Want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show. So, we are here to do a look back at a classic rock album. The album I've chosen for tonight is Judas Priest's Killing Machine. In the States, it goes under Hell Bent for Leather, but it's still a fantastic album. So, this was released in November of 1978, recorded at the Utopia and CBS studios in London. Also, about 38 and a half minutes in length on the CBS and Columbia labels, produced by Judas Priest and James Guthrie. So, yeah, pretty solid album. Well within my wheelhouse. Falls between that 35 and 45 minute lengths on an album that I like. This one's a little shorter than halfway there, but I think it's a good length for an album. It features Rob Halford on vocals, k.k.downing on guitars, Glenn Tipton on guitars. He also plays keyboards on Evening Star, Burning Up, Killing Machine, and Before the Dawn. Ian Hill on this album playing bass, except he doesn't play bass on Take on the World. Not sure, maybe they don't play bass on that song. Not sure what happened there. You have Les Binks on drums, except for Before the Dawn. Also, there is a couple of live tracks on this album, bonus tracks, which features Fight for Your Life and Riding on the Wind from Screaming for Vengeance. Fight for Your Life, I'm not sure what album is that on. Is that on this one? No, I didn't think it was. Can't remember. But anyways, both those drum tracks are done by Dave Holland, which is Les Binks' replacement. As Les Binks leaves the band after this album is replaced by Dave Holland. So there are a total of 11 tracks on this album. So this is one of the early albums. I call them the early albums. So the albums before British Steel, everything before British Steel, I call them. Well, they're basically the 70s stuff, I guess. It was a pretty solid album. I don't know if it's, I think it might make a top 5 album for them. It's pretty strong. It's a pretty strong album. Starts out with the song. So before we get going into it, I'll give you a kind of a overall breakdown of the album. Very heavy, pretty beefy. You got the full Judas Priest sound here. It's not quite as heavy as some of the stuff going forward in the 80s, but still pretty heavy album. It's got that classic Priest sound. Rob Halford's voice on this album is a little deeper than you get on some of the upcoming albums. And it's not as raspy or scratchy or screechy or whatever you want to call it. Really, really solid, actually. And there's some awesome tunes on this album. Of course, probably the big tracks on here are Green Manalishi, a song that they covered from Fleetwood Mac, which seems like a strange cover, but it definitely is. And then Hell Bent for Leather. These are two regular songs played on their live tours and stuff. So anyways, we're going to get into it. So you've got Delivering the Goods is the opening track. I'm a firm believer, as you know, of putting the title track right at the beginning. Makes sense since you're going to name the whole album after one song. Probably we should put that song first. But some people are different. They take things a little bit different. So I'm not going to get too upset about it. I think this is a pretty decent opening as well. And a screechy opening followed by some really beefy guitar riffing. The vocals are typical of Rob Halford. It's got a little bit of a deep part mixed in with some kind of raspy, distorted, screechy parts as well. And the solo was pretty heavy and pretty fast-paced. So next song up, Rock Forever, another decent track. I think this is probably the weakest track on the album for me. I don't think it's a bad track. It definitely passes. Everything on the album passes, but it's probably the weakest of the tracks on the album. It opens up with this kind of picking like guitar. It gets heavier, and the rhythm section gets heavier as well. The vocals are heavy, high end, a bit scrapey, a little bit kind of distorted, I guess. Rockier, not as terribly memorable a song as some of the other stuff on the album. Next up is Evening Star. This is the first really good track on the album, at least in my opinion. It's got a nice slow, melodic, almost ballad-like opening to it. The vocals are more low end, more kind of emotional, I guess is a good word for it. Picks up tempo. The vocals also pick up tempo, gets heavier. The riffs get catchier, and there's a couple of nice twin guitar soloings. This one, I believe, I'm not sure about this. They have one song that actually has a video goes with it. I think it was this one, but it could be Burning Up as well. So, anyways, next track up is Hellbent for Leather, which is the title track on the American version of the album. Also a regular song in their playset. This is kind of a banging, crunching opening to it. Heavy, fast-paced track. The vocals are more mid-ranged with some distortion to them, a little bit faster paced, a dominant solo on this particular one. Song kind of picks up, and so do the vocals as the song goes along. Decent track. And then ends off side one on the vinyl, which this is not, of course, is Take on the World. This is a heavy drum-driven opening with some heavy, beefy guitar. It's a very anthem-like song. It's a song you might hear when people are trying to get the crowd involved. And so for me, it's very, the vocals are very distorted, kind of raspy as he tries to get people involved with the song. So definitely an anthem-like song. Then we flip side B. I think side B, most of the time side A is the better side of most albums, but I think in this case it's the reverse. Side B I think is better. Most of my favorite tracks are, I gave like 7 or better on 5 or 6 tracks on the album, and 4 of those were on the back side. So it opens up with Burning Up, which I think is arguably my favorite track on the album. There's the first 2 tracks on side B are probably my 2 favorite tracks. It's got a nice slow, low sound when it starts out. It's kind of almost like a little bit of a rumbling. The keyboards pick up, catchy, beefy guitar-driven track throughout the rest of the song. Vocals are deep and heavy and raspy, distorted, and really catchy. It does pick up speed, leaning into some very distorted, heavy guitar solos here. This is a good track, catchy as all hell. Probably like I said, probably one of my 2 favorite tracks on the album. The other favorite on the album is Green Menalishi. This is originally covered by Fleetwood Mac, of course. And also, really, really catchy track. Heavy driven, strong guitar riffs. The vocals are heavy. A bit of a kind of, they're not as distorted or raspy as some of his other tracks. Got a little bit of that, a little bit of a smooth sound to them. I think that's the way I feel about this particular track. Nice catchy riff, heavy riff and drums towards the end. This is a really good song. Very well-known song to me. I've had it on my greatest hits for decades now, and a song I've always liked. And even though it's a cover track, I still like it a lot. Next up is Killing Machine, the title track of this album. Does pick up guitars. It's got this kind of picking, how do I say this? It's got this picking sound of guitars to open. 2 different guitars going at the same time, so it's a twin guitar part. The vocals are heavy, beefy, raspy, some high points, mostly low points though. It's a bit of an up-tempo crunching track for sure. Lots of guitar riffing, and the solo is pretty damn good, I think, for this particular track. Another 7 I gave this one. Running Wild. I like some parts of this track, but overall, I don't like it quite as much as these other three. It's got a fast paced guitar driven track. The vocals are high range, raspy, screeching. The solo is fast paced and is also screeching. It's a little bit much faster paced song. Running Wild. Next is Before the Dawn. I kind of like this track despite the fact that I kind of think of it as a ballad. It's got some acoustic parts into it. His vocals on this are very emotional, very slow, low end, smoother, nice. It's just a nice, well sung song. It does pick up a little bit. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit more melodic. The emotional charged track. I think the solo was very emotionally charged. So yeah, a different track for Judas Priest. Now they do these once in a while on some of their albums. This one's really good. Actually, they do ballads pretty good. I'm not a ballad guy, but I like some of the ballads that they do. They're catchy. Next is the final track on the album, Evil Fantasies. Slow, melodic, pounding track. The vocals are screechy, raspy, forward, forced, and distorted at the same time. It's kind of a beefy guitar, heavy beefy guitar riffing going on. The rhythm section is prominent on this, and it's got this nice slow melodic, distorted, grindy type solo at the end. Well, actually, I don't think it's quite at the end, but pretty close to the end. Nice track, nice way to end off the album. The second side, I think, is better than the first side, but overall, pretty strong album. Judas Priest's Killing Machine. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Look Back at a Classic Rock Album. Please hit the like and subscribe. Supports the channel. And if you want, you can make any comments about either the album, the band, or anything I've said. So take care. Have yourself a good evening, and goodbye here from the Prog Monster.